that, folks. So this is K2ELI, Jeff, Henrietta, New York. And let's start by taking mobile check-in here. Give your call sign twice and slowly. Heard. Just a reminder, you can text your call sign to 716-317-9050, or you can text radio to get on the log. We'll now take general check-ins. Give your call sign twice and slowly, please. 4CYF.
Quebec 4, Golf, Foxtrot, Echo. Kilo Quebec 4, Golf, Echo. KE2, IPJ, Kilo Echo 2, India, Papa, Juliet.
November 4, Charlie, Yankee Foxtrot, N4CYF. Juliet 5, Tango Alpha, Golf, in and out. Alpha 7, Alpha in out to the X-ray, in and out. Let's take a look here. Starting from the bottom of the list, we have KJ5TAG Tracy in New Mexico, KIPJ Dean in Potomac, New York, KQ4 GFE Clifford in Clearwater, Florida, N4CYF Fred in Durham, Oregon, W2RBC Randy in West Seneca, New York, WB3 ILA Steve in Easton, and W2A JV Anthony in New Jersey. Have I missed it?
November 3, Mike Delta Charlie. That's November 3, Mike Delta Charlie. I'm Michael here in Winston-Salem, North Carolina.
Michael, November 3, Mike Delta Charlie in Winston-Salem. Thanks for joining us. All right, so let's get started. Today's question, what is the most memorable road trip you have taken? We'll start with Anthony. W2AJV, tell me, what is the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Good evening, W2AJV. Good evening to everybody on the net. Most memorable road trip I took was to Florida in the early 60s. W2 to net 7-3.
Yeah, nothing beats that one. Thanks for checking in, Anthony. Let's move along to Steve in Pennsylvania, B2B3LA. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken? WB3ILA. Are you with us still?
Sorry, yep. This is Steve in Easton. Sorry. One of these days I was going to say I'll get up on courage to volunteer to be a net controller trainee there. But I used to work in upstate New York in the Hudson Valley for IBM, and I drove up to New York State through and to Vermont in Burlington, Route 7, and that whole thing around Champlain, taking the ferry across the lake. I'll never forget that the first time. So, my experience. So back to the net, WB3ILA.
Thanks, Steve, and I love that area as well. I live in New York, and my wife and I vacation up that way at least once every 2 years. And mentioning open mic night, I highly recommend it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a great way to just kind of get used to pile-ups and things like that. So, moving along to RBC, Randy in West Seneca. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Good evening, Jeff, John, and everyone on the Open Mic Net. The most memorable road trip that I took was by roadway along the U.S. shoreline of Great Lakes. As an avid Great Lakes boater, it was great to see the lake from both sides of the shoreline. Back to net control, 73 to all, W2, RBC.
Checking in, Randy. That sounds great. Moving along, N4CYF, Fred in Oregon. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken, sir?
Hi, how you doing? Hi, everybody. This is an easy question for me. The most memorable route I ever took was when I was 6 years old with my family. We went on a 3-week camping trip, starting in Long Island, New York. We went up to Quebec, Toronto. We went camping on Lake Champlain, etc. My mother, that's the last trip, that was the most memorable trip. Shortly thereafter, passed away when I was a kid, and it just was a trip that was just...
All right, that sounds great. Yeah, some of my most treasured travel memories as a kid are camping. Spent a lot of time in 1,000 Islands myself. All right, moving along. KQ4GFE, Clifford in Florida. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Here's KQ4GFE, and well, I would have to say, I live in Florida now, but I took a couple of road trips with my grandparents to Florida. The very first one was memorable. I mean, it was like a world of difference. We lived in Long Island, in Lake Ronkonkoma, in Suffolk County. It was a different world, completely different. And then 3 years after that, we moved here, so I got my wish. So back to the net. Thank you.
Clifford? Moving along here. KE2IPJ Dean in New York. What's your most memorable road trip?
Hello to everyone on the net. My most memorable road trip was in 1989, driving from London to North Wales, London, England to North Wales, with a stick shift on the opposite side of the road before GPS, using a map and just finding my way there on my own. Terrifying and a lot of fun. Back to the net. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, I did Europe once, and driving on the wrong side of the road was a harrowing experience. That's the end of this. Let's acknowledge K6ADS Andrew checking in on the TextNet, and KE2EDS Mark checking in on the TextNet. Do we have any other check-ins? Please call now come with your call sign twice and slowly.
Jeff, did you acknowledge November 3, Mike Delta Charlie?
Foxtrot 8, Foxtrot 0, Quebec, KF8, FSQ.
KR4 HPQ, Kilo Romeo 4, Hotel Bravo, Quebec.
Kilo November 7, Victor Echo Charlie, KN7, VEC, Scott, Tomahawk, Wisconsin.
On with those, we got KN7 VEC Scott in Wisconsin. R4 HQ Neil in North Carolina. KF8 FSQ Fred, Michigan. And then yeah, that's the top of the list as far as let's I missed Michael. I made a little mistake there. So Michael, N3 MDC, what was the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Well, Jeff, that's an easy one. Back in March, me and my mom actually took a trip to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. My dad and Uncle George lived down there. We went and visited my Aunt Diane. It was her 80th birthday. And we went down there for a few days and had a great trip down there. We were planning a trip down to Myrtle Beach in the fall, sometime in September, October. We enjoyed it, had a good time down there, had some great seafood at a restaurant down there. So we're planning another trip to Myrtle Beach in the fall, and we're also planning another trip out to Colorado because my Aunt Deb and Uncle George have an RV. So we're four of us are going to drive to Colorado maybe sometime in 2027. So there's our two trips we've got planned in the near future. Back to you, Jeff, in 3 MD6.
Thanks for that. It sounds like a great time down in Florida. Let's move along. KE2 EDS, Mark in Elmira, New York. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Good evening, Jeff. Good evening, John and Gil. Well, my most memorable road trip, actually I cheated at the beginning because I flew to Las Vegas, but went up into Utah to the St. George, Zion, Bryce Canyon, and really now my daughter, she would marry him, and she said yes. So it was a great road trip. Have a good one. KE2 EDS.
All right, Mark, thanks for checking in. Moving along, K6 ADS, Andrew in Maryland. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken? K6 ADS, are you still with us? Set you aside, Andrew, and we'll move along to KF8 FSQ, Fred in Michigan. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
KF8 FSQ, thanks for having the net tonight. Most memorable road trip I took, I went from Detroit to Lansing to Grand Rapids to Chicago, all the way over to Norfolk, Virginia, and up to Philadelphia, and then back to Detroit. And that was all within 2 weeks. A lot of driving. It was a great way to see my whole family. I got a couple of weeks off of school and work and had a great time. Back to you. KF8 FSQ.
Thanks, great memory. And thanks for checking in today. Moving along, Neil, for HBQ in North Carolina, what's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Good evening from Bull Durham. There's two that came to mind, and I'll stick with the happier one, which was ex of mine got a job working for Ohio Light Opera in Worcester, Ohio. We spent about 3 or 4 days driving from Durham, North Carolina out to Worcester, stopping at just about every little crazy roadside attraction we saw on the way. It was just a lot of fun, and it's a fun way to spend, a week and driving along through some of the back roads of the United States. So great trip, great memories. And with that, I will hand it back to Ned. This is KR4HPQ.
Thanks, Neil. And I think we are at the bottom of the list. We have Scott, who's checked in, KN7VEC from Wisconsin. What's the most memorable road trip?
Good evening, everybody on the net. KN7VEC here. This is actually quite a complicated question for myself because my dad got out of the service and said he would never raise his family anywhere, so he did work with Boeing aircraft, only he was contracted to the Defense Department, so we traveled all over the United States. Boeing offered to fly us. Dad insisted we take a car. We hit most national parks and state capitals. And then as an adult, I didn't want my dad to forget what he put his kids through, so on the 75th anniversary of Route 66, I put him on one of my Harleys. I got on the other Harley, and we rode the entire Route 66, taking 35 days. Kilo November 7, Victor Echo Charlie, back to net. Thank you, gentlemen.
Hey, thanks, Scott. It sounds like a great time. Route 66 is a classic. All right, we're gonna break for check-ins. Some more check-ins here. Give your call sign twice and
KE2HJY. Kilo Echo 2 HJY.
Kilo Foxtrot 6 Hotel Delta Juliet. Kilo Foxtrot 6 Hotel Delta Juliet.
let's make our way back up the list. 04 QMM Roger in Florida. Thanks for checking in. KF6 HDJ Brent in Florida. KE2 HJY Charles in my hometown, Rochester, New York. And AQ4 STK on the text line. Gary in Florida. Did I miss anyone?
Kilo Bravo 4 Bravo. Jack in Jacksonville, Florida would like to check in.
Yeah, for Bravo in Florida, we got you on the list. Let's make our way back up and just check on Andrew in Maryland, K6ADS. Are you with us? Well, maybe we'll catch you later. Starting at the top of our new list here, KQ4 STK Gary in Florida. Tell me, what is the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Good evening, all. I want to thank you for a wonderful, wonderful topic. I'm just sitting here thinking of all the road trips I've been on. I had a dear friend who we went on road trips all over the place. I had a wonderful, wonderful time. Probably the most memorable would be our trip from New Jersey, where we were living, to Falling Water in Pennsylvania. We spent out there, went sightseeing, just wandering around, exploring stuff. And there was a closed coal mine that allowed tours, so we wound up going in a coal mine. We had a picture of our dog wearing a miner's helmet. Just had a wonderful, wonderful time. So thank you so much for jogging my memory. 7-3 to everyone. KQ4STK back.net.
Gary, thanks for checking in, and thanks for the memories. Moving along, KE2HJY, Charles in my hometown, Rochester, New York. What's your most memorable road trip?
Well, I'm thinking it had to be back in the late 70s. I was in the Navy, just finished schooling in San Diego, California. Was getting transferred to Norfolk, Virginia. So me and a bunch of classmates, we drove cross country. So from San Diego to Memphis. Then I got tired of driving. From Memphis, I flew the rest of the way. But that was a very interesting trip. San Diego to Memphis, I think, had to be my best road trip. Okay, back to that. KE2HJY.
Hey, Charles. Yeah, I think I'd get tired of driving, too, after driving from California to Tennessee. I don't blame you for grabbing a plane ride home. Thanks for checking in. KF6, Brent in Florida. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Oh, good evening to the net. I have to say the family trip out to the Grand Canyon and Sedona, the most memorable on that trip was that my brother, my older brother, who has always been really good with his hands and woodwork and art in general, had found a piece of wood and whittled a popsicle. And, of course, we saw it and spent about 10 minutes crying to our parents that why did Drew get a popsicle and we didn't, until we were let in on the joke that it was just a carved piece of wood. But thanks for doing the net. Back to net control. KF6 HDJ.
And thanks for checking in. All right, Roger in Florida, KO4QM. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
Good morning, Jeff and the Open Mic Night crew. It'd have to be Grand Canyon with my parents back in the 70s. So thanks for getting me in there. Everybody have a great night. Catch you tomorrow. KO4QMM clear.
We'll look forward to I believe you do the morning brew. So we'll look forward to that. Bottom of the list, Jack, KB4B in Florida. What's the most memorable road trip you've taken?
messenger. Fifth grader, Mark Spears. Father,
You're a little far from the repeater right now. I managed to pull out Bel Air, and that's about it. But then, if you get closer to the repeater, you might want to recheck a little later. Well, we're at the bottom of the list, so I'm going to call out for more check-ins before I hand it off to John. Any more check-ins? Come with your call sign twice. And
K2AP. K2AP.
Jacksonville, Florida, overnight with my parents. My dad had just transferred to the church here in Jacksonville, and that Sunday night that I arrived in Jacksonville, the youth group was going up to Hilliard FAA installation, and Mark and I went along. Toured all the radars and everything up there, not knowing what the neighborhood was like around the church, the 44th and Pearl, in Jacksonville, Iowa. We returned to find that for virtually almost all of my earthly belongings, save the car, stolen. The car had been ransacked. Stole all my police gear. I stole all of my ham radio gear. They stole everything that wasn't part of their car. So, went back to the parsonage late and called up Mark's father, Al Spears. Told him what happened, and Al suggested put the teach ham radio up in the summer in a Jewish camp in the Catskills. Anyway, Al said, well, why don't I ship up to Baltimore, where you're headed to take Mark, Galaxy called MK2.
it was quite a story. Thanks for checking in with us. All right, do we have any more check-ins? Twice and slowly.
K2AP. K2AP.
I've gone up pretty irritating. Worked our way up to Baltimore. Hit the road on 995 and headed north by 11 to 11:30 at night. We were in Baltimore and looking for grandmother's address.
I think you're done. Thanks for checking in, and we're gonna move along on the list. I want to acknowledge NPN Allen in Kendall, New York. That's very close to me. K2AP Joe in East Islip, New York, and KR4JVI Eddie in Cape Coral, Florida. It's 8:30, so that's it. My turn, and I'm going to turn it over to John, K5ORD. I want to thank Gil for logging. Great job, and I appreciate the help from Mark and Terry. to do this and giving me the opportunity to participate in Open Mic Night. This is KE2ELI, and I'll turn it over to John. 7-3s, folks.
Hey, good evening, and thanks, Jeff. My name is John. My call sign is Kilo 5, Romeo Delta. I'm in Arlington, Texas, and I'll be your net controller for the second half hour of the ECR Open Mic Net. Before we get started, I just want to tell everybody that you can check in by calling in on the text line. The number is 716-317-9050. When you text that number, leave nothing but your call sign. You can also email your call sign to text at ecr.radio. So let's get those check-ins coming in so we can get a list here going for the second half.
K2CMT, K2CMT. Kilo Charlie. Kilo Charlie 5, Charlie Papa Oscar.
For 7, Foxtrot Golf Papa, in 7, SEP.
Let's take a break and we'll start there. Starting from the bottom, I got N7FGP, that's Scott in Jamestown, one of our ECR team members, thank you. We got KE2ELI, Jeff in West Henrietta, New York. We got KC5, CPO, Dave in Burleson, Texas. We also have K2CMT, Mike, another team member, ECR, in DeBray, Florida. N2ZVN, Allen in Kendall, New York. K2AP, Joe in East Islip, New York. And KR4JVI, Eddie in Cape Coral, Florida. Let's start at the top of the list. KR4JVI, Eddie. What was your most memorable road trip?
Well, I'm going to have to continue with everyone else with the Grand Canyon. There's nothing more spectacular than that I can see come to think of. Back to that.
Nothing wrong with saying the Grand Canyon. I've been there twice, and I'll tell you, it's all strike. Sit and look at it. Hey, Eddie, thanks for joining us tonight. Glad to have you. Okay, our next station is K2AP, Joe in East Islip, New York. Hey, good evening, Joe. What was your most memorable road trip? K2AP, Joe, are you out there?
K2AP, copy me? This is K2AP. Hello, this is K2AP.
K2AP, we hear you, sir. Go ahead. What was your most memorable road trip?
Okay, my most memorable road trip was to Key West, Florida. Key West, Florida. K2AP, back to net.
West. What What a memorable and unique place to visit. Yeah, I've been there too. Awesome. Hey, Joel, thanks for joining us tonight. Glad to have you. Station is N2ZVN, N2ZVN. Alan in Kendall, New York. Good evening, sir. What was your most favorite road trip?
Good evening, everyone. A special thanks for those that make this net possible. Most memorable trip, I think it was 4 years ago. We went from here in western New York to Tucson, Arizona. We picked up Route 66 just south of Chicago. Followed it as much as you can nowadays. But yeah, it was an awesome trip. We took 2 weeks, stopped and saw all the scenery. I want to do it again. Hey, everyone, have a great night. N2ZVN, back to net.
Hey, Alan, thanks for joining us tonight. New York to Arizona, boy, that's a trip and a half. Okay, thanks for joining us. Okay, our next station is K2CMT. K2CMT, Mike in DeBary, Florida. Good evening, sir. What was your most memorable road trip?
Good evening, John, and thank you both, Jeff and yourself, for participating in the open mic. My most memorable one was my first one, I think. I was 17 years old, and my two best friends and myself took off from Kentucky and went to Virginia Beach. We decided in the middle of the summer we needed a break. And I think that was the year that Red Lobster started restaurants, and they named it after me, because the second day there I was so sunburned that I don't hardly remember the rest of the trip. It was a miserable, miserable trip. So, that's all for me, buddy. 73 and K2CMT, back to net control.
Mike, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Kentucky to Virginia Beach. Awesome trip. Okay, I'm going to take a quick break, and I want to give out one announcement real quick. I want to make sure everybody knows about tomorrow. If you operate on HF, join us on the ECR 20-meter net on Thursdays, every Thursday, and tomorrow is Thursday, at 10 a.m. near 14.317 megahertz. Also on Saturdays at 9 a.m., check out our 40-meter net at approximately 7.245 megahertz. Alrighty. My name is John. My call sign's K5, or I am the next controller for the second half of the Open Mic Net, and you are listening to the East Coast Reflector. Okay, and with that said, our next station is somebody that I personally know and want to thank, KC5 CPO. He's the one that introduced me to the ECR and to the Open Mic Net, and this is my first year. So, Dave in Burleson, Texas, what was your most memorable road trip?
Hey, John, doing, I don't know, am I? Let's try this. Doing a great job. Don't know why my duplex system is not working right, but here we are. Yeah, my most memorable vacations were when I was a kid, and we just traveled all over the country. Saw Niagara Falls and Grand Canyon, and by the way, the Grand Canyon is just gorgeous. Anyway, those are my favorite memories, traveling with my siblings and my parents as a kid. Back to you, John. KC5 CPO.
Dave, thank you very much, and appreciate you introducing me to the ECR and to the net. Dave also serves as a roaming net controller on the Open Mic Night Net too. So thank you, sir, for everything you do for ham radio. Okay, our next station, KE2ELI. Jeff in West Henrietta, New York. Good evening, sir. Tell us what's going on and what was your most memorable road trip?
Hey,
John, thanks for doing the net tonight. You're doing a great job. My most memorable, I'm going to go with not my most fondest memory, but definitely my most memorable. When I was a kid, my dad would say every year, we're going to Disneyland next year. By hook or by crook, he used to say. And it wasn't until I was 16 years old that he managed to put the money together to take us there. And by then, I was too old for Disneyland. So I was this awkward teenager at a kid's amusement park, and it was not the best experience for me for Disneyland. But definitely the most memorable. The one shining moment for that, we got to go to Daytona Beach, and I got to see all the beach life that goes on down there. So that's the most memorable. This is KE2E Alive. Back to that.
Jeff, thank you very much for joining us tonight. Appreciate you. Our next station, well, before we go to our next station, let's take some more check-ins. Anybody that would like to check in, any mobile stations that would like to check in, please come in with your call sign twice and slowly, please. Go.
Whiskey 4, Echo, Juliet, Whiskey, W4, EJW, Ed in Seaside Park, New Jersey.
KJ5MEL, KJ5MEL, Jose, Austin, Texas.
We got two more on the list. Hopefully we'll get some more. Reading from the bottom, we got KJ5MEL, Jose in Austin, Texas. We also have W4EJW, Edward, Seaside Park, New Jersey. And going back to the top of our list, our next station is another ECR team member, N7FGP. Scott, good evening, sir. Tell us about your memorable road trip.
Good evening, John, and everybody out there. Thank you and Jeff for stepping in controllers tonight. My most memorable road trip, I think it has to be when I was about 6 years old. Our family drove from Southern Oregon all the way to Georgia, and that was before the freeway, so it's a few days. Anyhow, thanks for doing the net.
Okay, thanks, Guy. Thank you for joining us tonight. Appreciate it. Our next station, another ECR team member, K4GDS, Gil. Good evening from Orlando, Florida. How are you, and what was your most memorable road trip?
Good evening, John. Well, I just got back from a road trip up to New York for the meet and greet, but that was a great road trip. But I'd have to say the most memorable was coast to coast with my daughter. About 5 years ago or so, she decided to move to California, so we drove from Florida to Fresno, California, in her little Kia Soul, towing a trailer that I think was bigger than the Kia itself. But we had a great time and really enjoyed it. John, you're doing a great job tonight. Jeff, you did a great job. And I'll leave it back to you, K4GDS.
Gil, thanks for joining us tonight. And Gil and a whole bunch of other ECR team members are in the Zoom room. So if you would like to see what's going on behind the scenes, you can always check us out in the Zoom room, either during the net or even after the net. Okay, our next station is W4EJW. W4EJW, Edward in Seaside Park, New Jersey. Good evening, sir. What was your most memorable road trip?
This is W4EJW. Yeah, normally I spend most of my year in Cape Coral, Florida. And I have to say my most memorable road trip was probably when I was 21. And one day I got the bright idea to drive to Florida from New Jersey. And I left at 11:30 at night. And by the next morning, I went over the border of Florida, and the sign said 399 miles to Miami. And I had no idea that Florida was that big of a state. And I made it to Daytona, and I crashed. That was it. Passed out. So that was the rude awakening that Florida was a very big state. And now from where I reside in Cape Coral, it actually takes me 5 hours to get out of Florida on the from the west coast to the east coast on 95 into Georgia. So that was a memorable experience. Back to you.
Okay, thanks for joining us tonight. We really appreciate you making the effort and sharing your most memorable road trip. Our next station, KJ5MEL, Jose in Austin, Texas, the state capital. Jose, what was your most memorable road trip?
This long one. My most memorable trip was when I was 12. That's quite a long time ago. That's 58 years ago. And my brother, my older brother, graduated from Annapolis, Maryland, United States Naval Academy. He was the first Honduran to graduate from that school. And I'm just going to name the most important stops, but we were 2 months on the road. We went from Annapolis to Baltimore, to Washington, D.C., New York, Rochester, New York. We went to the falls, Niagara Falls. Then we went to Montreal for the World's Fair. Came back to Rochester, New York. Then we went to Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee. Then to Houston, Texas. Then we went to Laredo, Texas. Then we went to Mexico City to Guatemala City to Honduras, San Pedro Sula, where we live. 2 months on the road. I was 12, my younger brother was 10, Mama, and my brother, my older brother, who was at that time 22. It was the most memorable and the longest trip. We were glad to get out of a car. So bless you all and have a great day and a better week. Thank you for taking my call. Jose in Austin, Texas. KJ5MEL.
Jose, thank you for joining us tonight, and thank you for telling us about that long trip that you took. And I'm sure it was very heartfelt for you and most memorable, and we really do appreciate you sharing your story with us. So, hey, 7-3 to you, sir. Okay, boys and girls, moms and dads, you are listening to the East Coast Reflector Open Mic Night Net. My name is John. I'm your net controller for the second half, and we got left. Let's see. How about some check-ins? Because I only got one left on the list, and we need some more. So, anybody that would like to check into the Open Mic Night Net, please give your call sign twice, slowly. Ready, set, go.
This is Kilo Foxtrot 2 Golf Victor. Kilo Foxtrot 2 Golf Victor, Jack in Snowmass, Colorado.
Right.
If you're speaking to me, this is Jack, Kilo Foxtrot 2 Golf Victor, KF2GV in Snowman Village, Colorado.
Hi, KF2GV. And thank you for joining us. Your QRZ is showing us that you're in New York. So I guess you moved from New York to Colorado?
Negative. I'm in Colorado right now, and I'm using a Nomad IRLP companion node in the car. I'm jacking the mobile right now in Snowmass Village, Colorado. Just near Aspen, Colorado, using the Nomad IRLP companion node in the car. What do you think of that?
Okay, Jack, so you're mobile, so that, okay, I got it now. Hey, simple minds are easily confused, so thank you for unconfusing me. Hey, I'll tell you what, why don't you tell us your most memorable trip?
My most memorable trip was coming out here for the very first time. I took my airplane, which I flew out of Farmingdale, New York. Picked up my girlfriend in Chicago, Illinois, at the Meigs Field at the time. Then flew into Denver Stapleton Airport. Okay. And then it was my brother's. It was 1986. It was my brother Stuart's bachelor weekend, and we met a woman behind the counter at the fixed base operator where we landed at Denver Stapleton Airport. And I keep saying that because it's no longer there. It's gone. And that was the main airport until they moved it out to much further out north. And then we told this gal who was working behind the counter that it's his bachelor weekend and would she like to go for the ride to Aspen. And she jumped in the back of the plane, and my brother had the best time of his life, and shared it with this with the woman who was working at Denver Stapleton Airport, and he stayed at the I stayed at the Hotel Jerome, and he stayed at the Sardi house, and neither of us ever got out of the bedrooms.
Hey, Jack, thanks for joining us tonight, and thanks for sharing your trip with us. It sounds like you're still in the middle of a great adventure. I wish you good health, safe travels, and a big smile on your face. Okay, our next station is, actually, he's my boss, so, let's tighten things up here. N5 RTC, Terry from Austin, Texas. Good evening, sir. Why don't you share with us your most memorable road trip? Well, there have been many, but the one that comes to mind, it was the last family vacation we took with my son. He was 13 at the time,
and, he got to that age and decided this is the last time I'm going with mom and dad anywhere. So it was Texas, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, Arizona, and then back to Texas. It included just a few of these. The north rim of the Grand Canyon. I got stopped by a Navajo tribal policeman for speeding. That was fun. It included whitewater rafting, class 4 rapids on the Arkansas River in Colorado, a visit to Mesa Verde National Park and the cliff dwellings, and who can forget our visit to Roswell, New Mexico, where we went out and didn't trespass, actually saw the site where Farmer, whatever his name is, recovered the alien spacecraft. Really. They've got proof. So don't believe the stories about there not being an alien who, landed in Roswell. He's at Area 51, living a very happy life. It's our adventure. This is M5. Sorry. Okay, gotta get off. M5 RTC.
Terry, thank you very much, and thanks for sharing your trip, and thanks for teaching me the ropes and giving me an opportunity tonight. But I do have one question. When you had a encounter with the tribal police, did they give you a ticket?
No, they didn't, John, and they wouldn't let my son take a picture of them while they were talking to me through the driver's side window. I'm very sorry. I mean, I thought I was going to have a real souvenir to show for that trip. I went to Roswell and all I got was the coffee mug. N5 RTC. Oh, by the way, John, you're doing a great job. Thank you. You too, Jeff. This is one of the better in memory. N5 RTC is clear.
Terry, thanks again. This brings us to the 9 o'clock hour Central Time. So I would like to, and we are at the end of our list. The first thing I want to say before I close up shop is I want to thank everybody for participating tonight. It's your participation that makes it fun. It's your participation that makes us a successful net. And we're here every Wednesday evening, and we would appreciate you joining us again next week. My name is John. My call sign is K5ORD. I would like to thank my partner, Jeff, KE2ELI, our logger tonight, K4GDS Skill, and the rest of the ECR team that's in the background supporting everything that we do. Okay, I think that's it. I think I'm done, and this is K5ORD, Arlington, Texas, now returning the East Coast Reflector to normal amateur use. 7-3. Good night.
Control late. Chicken. Anybody there?
J5. V. Monitoring.
A lot of people put in their own gas, their own money for parts, their own money for repeater stuff. So any little bit helps. This is an open net. All licensed amateur radio operators able to hear us are encouraged to check in. Before I begin the net tonight, are there any stations with emergency priority traffic? If so, please call now. Do I have anyone lurking tonight who can serve as backup net control, maybe serve up as Jim Mistake Fixer? W6LUX Friday. W6LUX Los Angeles. W6LUX QSY.